Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes failure doesn't come crashing into our lives like a storm. It creeps in silently, disguised as daily habits, unnoticed patterns, and quiet compromises. While we chase success with ambition and energy, we often overlook the small things that slowly pull us backward. Today, I want to bring to light those hidden habits, not to scare you, but to awaken you. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they're not aware. It's not the giant mistakes that ruin us. It's the small ones we repeat every day. Let's uncover them, face them, and take control before they silently steal our future. Step 1. Procrastinating in the name of perfection. Procrastination is one of the most deceptive enemies on the path to success because it disguises itself as carefulness, responsibility, or the pursuit of excellence. We tell ourselves, I will begin once everything is perfect, or I need more time to prepare. These phrases sound reasonable and even wise, but beneath them hides a subtle fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown. Instead of confronting the challenge head on, we put it off, waiting for an elusive right time that rarely arrives. That is the number R. The desire for perfection can be paralyzing. We dream of starting with every detail aligned, every factor accounted for, and every skill mastered. Yet, perfection is a moving target, often unattainable, always shifting. When you set perfection as the starting line, you inadvertently build a wall between you and your goals. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and yet the project remains untouched, hidden beneath the illusion of preparation and readiness. This kind of procrastination feels safe because it doesn't force you to risk anything tangible. It is easier to delay action than to face the discomfort of imperfection, mistakes, or rejection. But what you gain in temporary comfort, you lose in momentum, confidence, and opportunity. Time does not wait for your perfect moment. The world is moving forward with or without you, and every pause brings you one step farther from your dreams. The emotional toll of this habit is often underestimated. Each day you delay, the weight of unfinished work builds inside you, casting a shadow over your sense of self-worth. You begin to question your abilities, your goals, and your value. The more you postpone, the louder the inner critic becomes, whispering that you're not capable, not ready, or not worthy. Procrastination transforms from a behavior into a limiting belief that undermines your potential. Many successful people share a common truth. They rarely started with perfection. They started with courage, the courage to begin despite uncertainty, imperfections, and fear. Success is rarely born from flawless beginnings. It grows from perseverance, learning, and adapting through trial and error. The idea that you must be fully prepared before starting is a myth that only delays your growth and fulfillment. When you procrastinate under the guise of perfectionism, you rob yourself of the chance to learn and improve through action. Each attempt, no matter how imperfect, is a step forward, a lesson in what works and what doesn't. Waiting for perfection denies you the invaluable experience that comes only from engaging directly with your goals. It is through doing that clarity emerges, skills sharpen, and confidence builds. The trap of perfectionism also blinds you to the power of small progress. You may feel that unless you can make a big leap, your efforts don't matter. But in reality, consistent small steps, no matter how imperfect, compound over time and lead to extraordinary results. The habit of waiting to do everything right the first time paralyzes you into inactivity, while imperfect action, taken steadily, propels you forward. Another hidden danger is that perfection-driven procrastination breeds regret. You look back at days, months, or even years where the dream was alive in your heart, but never touched by your hands. That gap between intention and action becomes a source of sorrow and frustration. The opportunity you hesitated to seize will never return, and the only thing left is the painful realization that time cannot be reclaimed. Breaking free from this habit requires a shift in mindset from seeking perfection to embracing progress. It means giving yourself permission to be a beginner, to make mistakes, and to be vulnerable. It means understanding that the first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be taken. Success isn't about flawless execution. It's about resilience, adaptability, and the courage to keep moving forward despite imperfections. So today, commit to starting imperfectly, uncertainly, boldly. Let go of the illusion that you need to be ready or flawless. Instead, trust that readiness will come through action and perfection will come through persistence. Remember, the dream lies not in waiting, but in doing. Take that first step and watch how the momentum builds, because the moment you stop waiting for the perfect time is the moment your true journey begins. Step 2, surrounding yourself with comfortable negativity. The people we surround ourselves with have an enormous impact on our mindset, energy, and ultimately our success. Yet, one of the most overlooked habits that quietly lead to failure is choosing comfort over challenge when it comes to our relationships and environment. Surrounding yourself with comfortable negativity means staying close to those who settle for less, who normalize excuses, and who drain your motivation under the guise of being realistic. While it might feel safe to be around familiar voices that don't push or challenge you, discomfort slowly becomes a cage that limits your growth and dims your inner fire. At first, the voices of negativity around you may seem harmless or even caring. They tell you to be cautious, to not aim too high, or to accept your current situation because life is hard, or things don't work out that way. These words may come from a place of fear or protection, but they ultimately serve to keep you small. When the people closest to you discourage your dreams or belittle your ambitions, even subtly, they plant seeds of doubt that take root and grow in your mind. Over time, this quiet erosion chips away at your confidence and willingness to push beyond comfort. Comfortable negativity is insidious because it disguises itself as honesty or realism. You might hear, "I'm just being honest with you," or "I'm trying to protect you from disappointment." But true honesty inspires growth and possibility. It encourages you to face challenges with strength, not to give up before you even try. When criticism comes without constructive support, or when skepticism is used to justify inaction, you are not being helped, you're being held back. This habit often forms from a natural human desire to belong and avoid conflict. It's easier to stay in a group where your ideas and fears are validated rather than challenged. But when your circle is built on complacency or fear of failure, it stifles your progress. You start adopting the limiting beliefs of those around you, and your ambitions shrink to fit the comfort zone of the group, not the boundless potential within you. The problem is compounded when you begin to internalize these voices. Over time, you start to believe the narrative of limitation, convincing yourself that you're not good enough, that your dreams are unrealistic or that it's safer not to try. This self-imposed cage can feel invisible yet unbreakable. It becomes a mental barrier that blocks your ability to see opportunities, take risks, and grow into your best self. Breaking free from comfortable negativity requires courage, the courage to examine your relationships honestly and the willingness to seek out new connections that inspire and uplift. It means surrounding yourself with people who challenge your thinking, celebrate your progress, and encourage you to rise above obstacles. Growth rarely happens in isolation, but it certainly doesn't thrive in an environment of doubt and despair. When you actively choose to surround yourself with positivity, ambition, and constructive support, you create an environment where your dreams can breathe and expand. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or avoiding criticism. It means choosing feedback that is honest but also empowering. It means spending time with people who remind you of your potential when you forget, who push you when you hesitate, and who believe in your vision even when it feels fragile. Your environment doesn't just affect your mindset, it shapes your identity. The people you spend the most time with influence your habits, language, attitudes, and ultimately the results you achieve. By stepping away from comfortable negativity, you open the door to becoming the person who takes bold actions, embraces challenges, and refuses to settle for mediocrity. Change can be uncomfortable. Leaving behind old relationships or distancing yourself from negative influences might create moments of loneliness or doubt. But discomfort is often the price of growth. Remember, your dreams deserve a community that fuels them, not one that fears them. Seek out those who will walk alongside you in pursuit of your goals, and you'll find that the energy you gain far outweighs the temporary discomfort of change. Ultimately, success is as much about who you are with as what you do. Choosing to step out of comfortable negativity is choosing to believe in yourself. It's choosing hope over fear, courage over complacency, and possibility over limitation. This step may be difficult, but it is essential, because no matter how talented, hardworking, or driven you are, the company you keep can quietly but powerfully determine whether you rise or fall. Step 3. Prioritizing distractions over discipline. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, and they often come disguised as harmless breaks or necessary downtime. But what begins as a few minutes of scrolling through social media, checking messages, or binge watching videos can quickly spiral into hours lost, eroding the time and focus needed for meaningful work. Prioritizing distractions over discipline is a hidden habit that quietly steals your potential and slowly leads you away from your goals without you even realizing it. It's a silent thief, robbing your energy, your time, and ultimately your future. The problem is that distractions offer instant gratification. They provide a quick hit of dopamine that feels rewarding in the moment. After a stressful day, it's natural to seek comfort in the ease of entertainment or social connection. But this comfort is fleeting. What starts as a moment to relax often becomes an unconscious habit, pulling you away from the deep, sustained effort required for true progress. The mind becomes trained to favor the short-term pleasure of distraction over the long-term payoff of discipline. Discipline, by contrast, requires effort, sacrifice, and sometimes discomfort. It demands that you say no to the tempting and immediate, so you can say yes to the meaningful and lasting. But discipline doesn't mean a joyless grind. It means choosing what truly matters over what feels good temporarily. When distractions take priority, you lose sight of your priorities, and the gap between your goals and your reality widens. Many people fall into the trap of business without productivity, filling their days with activities that seem like work but do not move them closer to their dreams. Checking emails obsessively, jumping between tasks, or mindlessly scrolling may give the illusion of being active. But this scattered energy drains your focus without clear boundaries and intentional effort. Your most important goals remain untouched, buried beneath a sea of distractions. The impact of this habit goes deeper than just lost time. It affects your self-esteem and belief in your capabilities. When you fail to follow through on your intentions because distractions won, you begin to doubt yourself, control, and commitment. This self-doubt feeds a vicious cycle. Lack of discipline leads to failure to meet goals, which leads to lower confidence, which leads to even more distractions and procrastination. It's important to recognize that discipline is a skill, not an innate trait. It can be cultivated, strengthened, and practiced daily. Just like a muscle, it grows with consistent effort. Prioritizing discipline means creating habits, routines, and environments that reduce distractions and support focused work. It means setting clear goals, managing your time wisely, and learning to say no to devices, to interruptions, and to the endless noise that pulls you away from your purpose. The digital age makes this challenge even more intense. Our devices are designed to capture and hold our attention. Notifications, alerts, and endless streams of content compete fiercely with our focus. Without conscious effort, it's easy to become a passive consumer rather than an active creator. To reclaim discipline, you must take control, turn off notifications, set dedicated work periods, and guard your attention like the precious resource it is. Another key part of overcoming this habit is understanding the value of deliberate rest. Rest and recreation are essential for creativity and energy, but they must be intentional and balanced. Mindless distraction may feel like rest, but it often leaves you feeling drained and restless. True rest renews your mind and body, allowing you to return to your goals with clarity and vigor. Ultimately, prioritizing discipline over distractions is about honoring your future self. It's about making choices today that your future will thank you for. Each moment spent focused on your goals, no matter how small, compounds into meaningful progress. Each distraction surrendered is a victory that strengthens your willpower. The path to success is paved with countless small decisions. Choose discipline even when it's hard, because your dreams depend on it. Step 4. Talking more than you act. Avoiding accountability is one of the most subtle yet destructive habits that quietly steer you away from success. It often begins with small excuses, blaming circumstances, others, or even bad luck when things don't go as planned. At first, it might seem harmless to deflect responsibility just a little, but over time, this habit grows into a pattern that erodes trust in yourself and others. When you refuse to own your actions and outcomes, you give away your power and control over your life's direction. Taking responsibility is not about self-blame or harsh judgment. It is about recognizing that you are the primary architect of your life. Whether things go right or wrong, owning your choices means embracing both your successes and failures with honesty and humility. When you shy away from this, you limit your growth, because real learning and improvement come from facing the truth, about where you are and what you could have done differently. Avoidance of accountability often stems from fear of failure, criticism, or appearing weak. It can feel safer to point fingers than to look inward. But this safety is an illusion. By dodging responsibility, you miss the chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. In reality, those who accept accountability build resilience and credibility, earning the respect of themselves and those around them. This habit can also create toxic patterns in your relationships and work. When you avoid responsibility, you shift the burden onto others, breeding frustration, mistrust, and resentment. Teams break down, friendships falter, and opportunities vanish when accountability is absent. On the other hand, those who step up and own their part, even in difficult situations, foster trust and collaboration that lead to collective success. Avoiding accountability can also stunt your self-awareness. When you don't take stock of your actions, you remain blind to habits, decisions, or mindsets that hold you back. This blindness prevents change and traps you in cycles of repeating the same mistakes. Genuine growth demands looking honestly at yourself, accepting where you fall short, and taking active steps to improve. Embracing responsibility requires courage. The courage to be honest with yourself, to admit when you're wrong, and to commit to doing better. It means resisting the urge to blame external factors and instead focusing on what you can control. This mindset shift is empowering because it returns the reins of your life to your hands. You become a proactive creator, not a passive victim of circumstances. Accountability also works best when it's shared. Seeking feedback, partnering with mentors, or having someone to hold you accountable creates a system of support and motivation. When you are answerable to yourself and others, you are more likely to stay disciplined and aligned with your goals. Avoidance breaks this vital link, leaving you isolated and unmoored. It's important to remember that accountability is not a punishment. It is a tool for growth. It allows you to measure progress, learn from failures, and celebrate wins. Without it, success becomes a vague hope rather than a clear destination. When you accept responsibility, you set the foundation for consistent improvement and long-term achievement. Ultimately, avoiding accountability is like trying to navigate a ship without a compass. You may move, but you lack direction and purpose. Taking responsibility is the compass that keeps you on course. It transforms setbacks into stepping stones and challenges into opportunities. The moment you stop running from accountability and start embracing it, you take a vital step toward owning your success and living a life of integrity. Step 5. Ignoring your inner voice. Neglecting self-care is a silent and dangerous habit that often creeps into our lives unnoticed, slowly undermining our ability to succeed and find fulfillment. In the relentless pursuit of goals, it's easy to convince ourselves that sacrifice means pushing harder, working longer, and ignoring the basic needs of our mind and body. We tell ourselves that rest is a luxury that breaks our distractions, and that self-care is something to indulge in only once we make it. But this mindset is a lie that quietly chips away at our potential and drains the very energy we need to thrive. When we neglect our physical health, skipping meals, sacrificing sleep, avoiding exercise, we damage the foundation that supports all other aspects of our lives. The body is not a machine to be endlessly pushed. It is a living, breathing vessel that requires nourishment, rest, and movement. Chronic fatigue, illness, and stress are not signs of strength or dedication, but warnings that we are out of balance. Ignoring these signals leads to burnout, which not only halts progress, but can derail dreams entirely. Mental and emotional well-being are just as critical as physical health. Stress, anxiety, and unresolved emotions act like invisible weights that slow us down when we don't take time to manage our mental health. Through mindfulness, therapy, reflection, or simply quiet moments, we become trapped in cycles of overwhelm and negativity. This state of mind clouds judgment, reduces creativity, and diminishes resilience, making it harder to face challenges with clarity and courage. Neglecting self-care also affects our relationships. When we're depleted, irritable, or disconnected from ourselves, it becomes difficult to connect authentically with others. Our support systems may weaken just when we need them most, leaving us isolated at times when community and encouragement are essential. That is, taking care of ourselves is not selfish. It's necessary to show up fully for the people and projects that matter. The culture of hustle glorifies constant work and undervalues rest, but true success demands balance. The most successful people recognize that self-care fuels sustainable achievement. They understand that taking time to recharge is not a setback, but a strategic investment in their long-term potential. Restored energy, fresh perspective, and renewed motivation are the rewards of honoring our well-being. Developing a self-care routine is a deeply personal process. It requires listening to your body and mind, acknowledging your limits, and committing to practices that replenish your energy. This might mean regular exercise, healthy eating, meditation, creative hobbies, or simply unplugging from digital distractions. It means carving out space in your busy schedule for activities that nurture your soul and restore your vitality. Neglecting self-care often stems from a misguided belief that success demands sacrifice at all costs. But sacrificing your health and happiness for success is a hollow victory. Real success integrates well-being, joy, and fulfillment. It allows you to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. When you honor your needs, you build a foundation that supports not just achievement, but a rich and meaningful life. It's also important to recognize that self-care is not a one-time fix, but an ongoing commitment. Life's challenges will ebb and flow, and your needs will change over time. Regularly checking in with yourself, adjusting your routines, and seeking help when needed are all part of maintaining balance. Neglecting these habits invites gradual decline, while consistent care builds resilience and strength. Ultimately, neglecting self-care is like trying to run a marathon on an empty tank. You may push through for a while, but eventually exhaustion will force you to stop. Choosing to prioritize your well-being is a radical act of self-respect and wisdom. It empowers you to face life's demands with energy, focus, and joy. When you care for yourself, you're not just you're not just surviving, and that is the true foundation for lasting success.